Alrighty. How's it going, YouTube? Hosha back with an updated beginner's guide for Dwarven Realms. They've come out with a new patch version. You can see in the bottom right corner, version 0.6. A couple days ago, 0.5. We are going to go over all the things it takes to start a character, get through the world, get to the end game, and all the new content they've put out since the last time. So, they have updated the character screen. Instead of create character, they have delete character to remove confusion. So there is still currently no multi-character option. You can see my character name and level and the stats I put into as I leveled. Go ahead and load in. We will be in our home fort because this is the ending zone after the storyline area. When you come in, it'll be empty, just like this. And well, I've built a few things. We'll get into those later. But for now, this map will not be something you get access to until you get to the end zone. But don't worry about that; it won't be a problem. So, for the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and disappear. So this right here is the starting map, starting zone. I am this little red arrow here on top of the teleport location. There are 3 of them in this zone, and you can at any point in time teleport to them freely. The starting location is in this little cave back here. You'll be up in a cove. You step forward, grab a weapon, and that introduces you to, if a weapon is open or displayed and not in a loot bag, it will automatically enter it into your action bar. As you can see, down here, you have a 8-button action bar. My number 1 slot is my primary weapon. If I hit number 4, I swap to another weapon I have equipped, which is the bow. Bows are not currently utilized, so we'll not worry about that for now. They are minorly functional. Anyways, as you jump down and explore a little bit, you come across a couple monsters. There'll be an NPC outside. You talk to it, accept the quest, you get a couple levels. Each level... Oh, hi there. Pardon me, I'm doing something. Every level, you will gain 3 stat points that you can apply to strength, agility, stamina, endurance, or luck. In my opinion, it is not worth putting in currently into endurance or luck. All of this is from the gear that I currently have on, and we'll get into the different tiers in a little bit. I have put almost all of my points into stamina. As you can see here, the rest of it is primarily from gear. So you'll run across other weapon types as you come across. There will be other icons here that you currently do not see because I have in fact already looted them. Just a moment. Okay. There will be purple chests. There will be other interactables. You'll come across things. I'll go ahead and teleport over here to show you a little bit about what those look like. Okay, so there's that white beam right there. That's an indicator. I am trying to do something. Would you mind? I'm going to leave them be. So this key image right here is a zone crafting station. I'll show you mounts in a little bit. As you approach this, you can craft gear based on the zone. And as you progress through the zones, you will acquire more. This is the starting stuff, and each item takes materials we get from the zone to make them. There's a little graphic here to show you. So normally there's a chest sitting right there in the big purple beam. There'll be a key sitting here. But as I have already acquired that, those are both currently gone. You'll see those throughout each zone. The statues with a free key is strictly for this beginning zone. Once you come over here and transition into the next zone, there will not be free keys. However, you can, not on this one, but on progressive stones like this, you'll be able to craft a key for that zone, and it will take resources from that zone. So part of what I was mentioning earlier is you'll come across things. In this will be 2 pickaxes. As you approach it, they will pick them up and place them into your action bar if it is not full, and those can be used for standard mining of mining nodes. However, each weapon has its own unique ability. Let's deal with these guys real quick. Let that clear out. So if I'm going to use my R skill, and I just pop all of them, each skill using either the Q or R can destroy mining nodes on the finishing move. One-handed weapons, it is the Q. Mauls, it's the Q. And I believe for the two-hand, it's also the R skill. So it's up to you which weapon you choose. The game will give you a weapon of each type, both one-handed, two-handed, mauls and staves, and spears as you go along this path and progress through all the way up to finally finding this first crafting bench up here. Weapons at this time are not craftable. A lot of the resources you need are already on the ground. Like, for example, these little flowers here, you run over it and you get fiber. There are bones. There's also this wood here, so I'm collecting wood. If I was to find some spare skeletons laying around, I will acquire it from them. Also, the enemies drop loot, as you can see on the right there. I'm collecting quite a bit of loot. And that sparkling white over there is a loot item. So one of the things I have done is I have put points into my skill tree to increase the pickup radius. So I now pick up things from a rather decent distance. I believe in ruptures, it is even further than that. And that is going to be down over here. Where'd that go? Where did that go? Oh, here we go. Increase the range at which you pick up loot bags. I very much like that one. We'll get more into the skill tree later. Workbench here you come across is similar to the other one, except you'll be able to create different things, and this is based off of the zone you're in. So for the first zone, you'll have access to these rope items. As you go into the second zone, you'll get this white leather. As I have progressed through all of the zones, all of them are available. All the way down to the Thunderbringer equipment that you gain at the last zone. So Desert Oak and Frozen Ingot. Where is the Desert Oak? Oh, okay. Actually, it should be this one down here. And then the Frozen Ingot is up here as well. So it shows you the resources that you need to make it, and over here is most of the resources you'll get. You will also come across other resource types that don't go down here. I have chosen to hold on to these. I will go ahead and make a few items to show you a little bit about crafting and quality. There we go. I want one more. There we are. Okay. So now we have in our inventory a gray item, a blue item, a yellow item, an orange item, and purple items. These are the progressive qualities of each item. Gray being the least, purple being the highest. Orange is the highest craftable. Purple is the highest current tier. You cannot craft it at this time either. Now, if you are making gear and you find you don't need it, there's a button up here for disenchant. This currently does not have a selectable quality option. So when you disenchant, it takes everything yellow and lower and breaks it down into materials. Now this piece, I don't want it, so I will have to sell that to a vendor later. So let's head over to a vendor. More specifically, a central town for this zone. Each zone has a central town. What I'm using is this F skill here to call my mount, and that is acquired from the skills menu. The second skill down here, summon a majestic beast to ride. As I have left a review, I have been given this mount. The standard mount is just the stallion. I picked this mount for leaving a review, so that's why I have a different mount. So this is a little hometown for this zone. This, again, will not be there your first time through. You will come across a number of things that you would already come across before. A furnace, plank station, mortar, workbench, all those are in the zone beforehand. But the trader is new, and they will take things that you don't need, like this piece of armor that I couldn't disenchant. I can sell it, and it's 260 coins. I'm also going to go ahead and sell these other outdated, for me, pieces of lootables. There are free experience items. So that was a scroll. That was 2 scrolls. This is a book. And there's some more items over here. We got a couple of books, a few scrolls. So those will be stored over here. Tablets, scrolls, and tomes. Currently, these all have a base value. They do not scale. However, if you acquire this one, you get 50% more experience from everything. Crafting, experience scrolls, monsters, etc. So you can come to this research table, the Scholar's Desk, and you can use up what you have acquired to research and gain more experience. I am trying to save up these, so I'm not going to do that this time. One of the other things they moved was the flint and dwarven stones used to be up here. They've moved it down here, which is very nice. As far as I'm aware, they don't have a stack limit anymore. It used to be you'd have a stack limit. That has also been removed. So, as you progress through, you'll fight monsters. You'll come across, like, for example, this place here. So you come across under this bridge. There'll be a new crafting spot. And then there'll be a space over here where you will find your first boss. However, beware, your first ambush of harder monsters is going to be right here. Ambushes will happen throughout the map and throughout the world, so just be ready. Sometimes they're fast and they attack before you're ready. This will be your first boss, and then as you come down here, we'll take a closer look at that. That right there is this. So if I click on it, it highlights it. And that's another feature. So if I wanted to, let's say I want to highlight this. It now highlights it. Wow, I lined up perfectly for that. And it shows you the distance as to which you are from it. I do not wish to highlight these, so I can unclick them, and the highlight goes away. But that is your first dungeon. There are monsters and loot, and a boss. In each place, each dungeon, there will be a boss. There will be random bosses throughout the zones you go through. If you find yourself down in this zone and you've got a bunch of experience items, there just so happens to be a Scholar's Desk right here just before the new zone. There's also a group of enemies right here as a kind of damage check to see if you're ready for the next zone. A little bit of an ambush. For me, they're not a problem. For the first time player, it will be a little bit of a challenge, but that's not a big deal. Most monsters are pretty easy to fight at this stage. So I'm going to go to the next zone, into the Mordoth Hinterlands. Now when I come in here, it will tell me level 12 plus. So it will show you and give you suggestions on what level you should be for the zone you're in. For this one, we come in up here. We've got a crafting station here. We've got a couple of teleports around the zone. This one happens to be the center town. There's also chests, and for the first time, a bracer recipe down here, which we will get into crafting those. Obviously, the chests are currently gone because I have gone through and collected them. There's a boss here. I believe there's a boss down here. There is one here, but I don't think there's one in here. So let's go and explore what that bracer recipe you require in this zone will look like. As you get to this town, most of the crafting stations you've come across will be here again. Oh, one of the guards are fighting something out there. I can hear it. That goblin guardian protected the town. So, this leatherworking bench is a new station you come across in this town, and the timber bracers are what you pick up in this zone, and is what is craftable I just realized I picked up a couple items that I don't care for, so I'm going to break them down into materials for later. Especially these materials here, which will be used for these, which are used for the endgame.
Selling.
I don't have anything to sell to the vendor, but if I wanted to, I could buy some materials from him if I wish to, or take the chance on possibly getting a better weapon. You can buy a range of items as well. None of those are interesting, so I'm going to break them down, get some resources. Again, this portal here will not be here your first time through. This place introduces a split path. You can go up to the Sacred Thicket or down to the Mirth Passage. And so, the first place we teleported to was here. We are currently here. You can see the path splits. So one, you can go in this direction. This way you can go that way. Both of those converge into the next zone, so it doesn't make much of a difference. Go ahead and travel here, show you what that looks like. So this next zone, again, there's a chest, another chest, and a bracer piece, and I think another chest down here, and maybe another chest over here. But I have, again, already looted these, so this is the path you come in, and you would leave this direction, bringing you to the next zone. One of the things that they've updated is the mining nodes. Actually, I forgot to show you earlier. On the minimap, it shows you these little rocks. So you see 1, 2, 3, and it's got 1, 2, 3. Previously, these were little pickaxes. So you can see those regardless of where you're at, or if they're covering, they will be visible on the minimap, which is a nice feature. This little structure here is a respawn point. So if you happen to be, so it's about here. So if you happen to be down here fighting the boss guarding this chest and you die, it will respawn you right here instead of all the way back here where you possibly came into the zone. So you don't have to worry about running all the way if you happen to die. As you come across these zones, and I forgot to mention it previously in the first zone, you'll come across containers that are lootable. These ones I have happened to have already looted. So you approach them, and you can hit E to take everything from them. Again, I've already acquired these, so these are going to be empty, and they're going to stay empty. These are all one-time loot items. Oh, hold on. I think I just saw something. Here's something I maybe... Yep, there we go. So I got a weapon, some gold, some crafting materials, and something used for later as well. So I can hit E, and all of those are now in my inventory. So we're up here. We're going to keep going on to the next zone. It is fairly easy to progress. Just follow the white line, and you will find the next place. This place is a little higher level. It's not giving me the level warning, but that's okay. So we can see on the map here, there's this direction and this direction you will come into this zone at, and then this direction over here to proceed to the next area. And here we are, the first chest for the zones that I have not looted. There's a small little outpost up here. If you're wandering around and wish to craft things or build something, you can do so. Again, these chests will require keys made from the zone, which you can make the keys in these little crafting stations around. There's also one here. There we are. Here's an example, and it takes 200 of the Arcavian crystals to make this one key. You can, of course, make as many as you wish to, as long as you have the resources. And this one just so happens that there's something kind of unique about this zone that you first encounter. While this portal is right next to your next destination, it also props you up right next to a boss. So this desolated dragon will spawn in some ads to help him out. For me, they're not going to be a problem. First player, it will be a little bit of an issue. However, so I've looted that enemy, and he gave me a set of desolated gloves. Mordoth gloves, I think, Mordoth set is the other set you could possibly get from these bosses. I've gotten a key, a different item, another health potion, which health potions and regeneration potions you can pop down here. And they have actually updated the interactions so you can hit the number that it's on and instantly drink it. Nice little addition that they did. I'm going to go ahead again. So up to orange. So orange and purple will not be broken down. So if I hit disenchant, this purple gear is safe. So if you want to get rid of everything below a certain quality or below orange to stick to just the stuff that possibly could be better, you can make it easy for you out there. Now the boss is dead. He's not going to come back. But if I go ahead and I click this again, reload the zone, and there's the boss again. And oh hey, would you look at that? We have a desolated pair of pants and a epic weapon. This is actually a pretty good weapon, I would think. We will take care of those and clean this up later. Now, this just so happens to be the next dungeon. There are a couple more throughout the other zones, but this one is a dungeon that leads you to the next zone. So you actually, oh, there we go. Just picked up some bones. As you can see, there's some skeletons. You pick up bones from those and other just random piles of bones. This introduces you to one of the first things you have to deal with. You can't just run across it. However, there's a big jump in this game. And primarily, jumping is used to also deal with enemies, repositioning yourself, and so forth. It's a little pile of bones. So you'd walk in there, and you are in the next dungeon, leads you to the next zone. I'm not going to go through that right now, because it's big, there's bosses, there's lots of loot, lots of exploring to do. It is also highly advisable, as you progress through these zones, that you don't just rush to the next area. Hold on just a moment. Alright. So, as you progress through each zone, obviously, so this next one would be the Dwarven Catacombs. It's suggested to be a level 35 plus, as the enemies are scaled to that level. The next one you'll come across, which I will show you where that's at, is 45. The last dungeon that you have to progress through is level 55. If you do not get to those levels and you just rush through, you will have to travel back to these zones to level to be able to progress through, because you can't do the endgame content without being leveled. So it is best to just play through them instead of rush through them. Explore, find the bosses, farm the gear. It makes life much easier for you as you go. So we have teleported in to this zone's central town. There will be, again, chests and bracers and rings and a necklace, but there's something new here. There's a new icon down in this little corner. That is new stuff that we will get into a little later, and it's super exciting. So as you can see, there's a white line that kind of shows you where to go, and it leads you into this pond. You can, of course, just beeline it straight down if you wish to, or, as we're going to, teleport down. So, come across this lake, and this introduces you to something that you haven't experienced yet, besides a new boss. There's a boss here, defeat him, new purple gear. Very nice. And there are, of course, other bosses strewn around. Like here, there's a boss. There's a boss in here and here. Actually, I believe there's two bosses in this cave, along with other random locations around, guarding the chests and crafting materials. So here is something new. You have to swim. Believe it or not, you actually can dive. So there's other things down here to collect and pick up and stuff like that. I'm not going to do that at this time. I'm going to try and get out of the water. I can't get out. So I'm going to head back to the town portal here. And we're going to head on to the next zone. Oh, right. There are lootable things just everywhere. So keep your eye out. Lots of good stuff. we're currently here, and you'd have to go through the underwater mines to get to this next zone, which are the Firelands. You'll come out over here somewhere. Wait a second. Hold on. That doesn't sound right. Oh, no, that's right. Yep. You go through the underwater in a cave. You come out the other side. Yes. So there's chest and crafting patterns. There's I think, a ring over here, a necklace over here, things like this. So there's a necklace and a ring down here. There's a chest over here that I already looted. Same with the chest here. This one's a little less obvious because there's only this little path here. And this portal leads you to the last dungeon, the Sky Dungeon. You can either come over this direction and fight through everything. You come down here. There's a pathway to get through. Either this direction or over here. Nice big pathway here to get to this stuff. A little cave coming through here. So it's all just a big loop with the center part here being the final destination. Again, you got your usual crafting locations and lots of lootable stuff. And another mining node. Each zone will have different materials from iron to copper to snow and fire ore and this lightning ore, I think. This zone, it's a little hard to notice, but right over here is where the portal to the next place will be. You can kind of see this pathway along the ground leading you there, and it just so happens to kind of lead along here. Again, we're not going to explore that because you have to get through the dungeon to get to the next place. Now, unfortunately... Okay, so now we've come across something else. We're stuck. So up here is the portal to be able to go from zone to zone, but I can't click the little purple teleport thing. And that is where this skill right here, this B button, comes into place, which is this on the talent tree, the home beacon. Summon a portal to take you home. Now, how that works is whatever zone you were in, it will take you to the little hometown of that place. If you're in one of the endgame ruptures, it will take you out of the rupture back to your home fort, which we will experiment with that a little later. So here we are, back in this little home fort that we started with in the first place. Notable things already empty. So now, again, I showed you where the Sky Temple is, and we'll come to the last zone. Here we have the home portal, home zone, home spot, hometown, whatever, for this zone. You'll come in over here, and you can come fight bosses and find the chests and crafting materials that I've, again, already picked up while working on leveling up before the end game. This will have all of the crafting stations, and along with something new over there. One thing that you will actually see, I believe, in the second zone that I have not covered yet is this gem anvil, and we will get more into that once we get to our home base, which will be here in just a moment. As you come across this hometown, you will see this map stone carving table and this open world rupture portal. These are both endgame materials or stuff. So this hinterland stone map, which I have 80 of, requires 2,000 of this material. Hold on, where'd it go? The fire shard. And as you go down, each different stone requires a different material. Now this one has something new, the key to the ancient catacombs. This requires 40 of all of the previous stones. And this is something we're going to explore later. Super excited about that. I forgot to clean up my inventory. So, I'm going to come trade with this goblin. I'm going to go ahead and break the one thing down and sell the items I don't need and can't currently break down. Clean up my inventory a little bit. So this is the first place you will come across this teleporter. and you will be able to see the world map, and for the first time, your home fort. So you will make a full circle and come back here. And this is your home fort. This is actually a place where you have a lot more free reign. You'll have a couple vendors and bunch of different crafting stations around the edges and such, and I will introduce you a little bit to those as we go. One of the first things I want to show you is this right here, a building plan. In the event that you lose it, another one will be here the next time you spawn in. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this up, and I will equip it to my hotbar, and I will right-click to bring up all of the different building options that they currently have. So you have different foundation styles, a couple different roof styles, some stairs, walls, fencing, doors and windows, and other things of that nature. We're not going to build anything right now, because that is a lot of stuff to do. And I just accidentally dropped it, but that's okay, because when I come back, there'll be another one there. So there's a furnace that's currently not fully functional. There is a workbench that you can use to create other tools to be able to place around the home fort. So the furnace, as you saw earlier, which I had made one over here, it also, unfortunately at this time, does not function. A millstone, research table, compost bin. The compost bin will be used for the farming crops, which are not yet fully functional. You can get your own storage system if you wish. The barrel press in the fridge, kind of playing with the compost bin. Those are not fully fleshed out features yet. There's a dummy that you are able to interact with and fight. If you want to watch your numbers go bigger. There are mannequins, which I will show you a little bit more of later. There's other things that you can use for crafting, like the metal lock is needed for this storage chest. And then the door locks are also needed for locked doors and such. There's all kinds of decorations and accessories you can put in your house. Carpets, paintings, tables, shelvings, all kinds of fun, cool stuff. This stuff is also things that are being fleshed out and worked on. When you come in here, there will be loot in these containers. They will not refill. And once you get here, you will be able to craft any piece of gear that you have come across while progressing through the zones, as you saw earlier. But again, as you progress, you will only have access to that particular zone stuff. You can, from the crude or base material, make a level or a higher tier of it. So this leaf will make another material that I don't... Oh, it's right here. So this stuff will correlate over here. So these materials will all be able to be created into this, which are used for creating other resources. Yep, this millstone is a little broken, as you can see. There's some overlays. Like if, for example, I want to make some fire shards, it will cost me bones. If I want to make bones, it'll cost me these resources. These all kind of circle around to each other. It is not at this time beneficial to try and transition from one to the other. Farming resources is more than sufficient. There's a plank station here, and you'll be able to take the base material for one and turn it into an upgraded version of it that is used for building or crafting other materials. Another furnace that you'll be able to do for ores. And here we have the gem stuff. So there's the standard gem anvil, which you have, you can make armor, damage, strength, agility, and stamina. Each one has different values. The armor is for 2 points, damage is for 0.5, strength is 0.5, agility is 0.3, and stamina is 0.8. Each stone is worth that value. This, Fossil of the Dwarven Demigods, is a new piece of gear that is intended to receive every single gem you create. An ancient life source with powerful force can be imbued with magical gems. Take another look at this. Add stamina to Dwarven Demigod Fossil. So these are all intended to go together. And that was to help players with trying to figure out which piece of gear they wanted to put their gems on. They just made one piece for all gems, standard value. It gives you 10 of every stat. I'll show you here. This is what mine looks like right now. It starts out with 10 agility, 10 endurance, 10 strength, and 10 stamina. Everything else I have added via gems. So I've gotten a rather powerful piece. All the other pieces have not been able to take gems this season, which is perfectly fine. Then we come across the Advanced Gem Anvil. Previously, you could take one gem type of 2 of one gem and turn it into another one. So 2 orange, or 2 blue to make an orange, 2 orange to make a green, 2 green to make a red, 2 red to make a blue, and it's a full circle here. Since I am using a spear, I start with this, I turn my greens into reds, reds to blues, blues to oranges, and I don't bother with this one because it would take away my spear damage gems. The energy regeneration and health regeneration are the same as they were last time. It takes 5 of each weapon type plus a Dwarven rune, and each one gives a value of 0.1 and 5 health regen. The new things are these large ones. So if we take a look at the normal damage stone, it takes 200 metal flint and gives you 0.5 damage. Take the large one, it's 200,000 metal flint and gives you 510. So it is 100, yes, or 1,000 times, no, it's 100 times more. So as you can see, I have quite a bit of my resources here because I've been collecting them and waiting to be able to make these larger stones. I can't quite make these two. If I come down to the large agility, large stamina, or large strength, ooh, not quite the large strength, just shy by about 3,000. But I can make one of these. This would give me 820 stamina. Each point of stamina no longer unfortunately gives 10 health. I believe it is 8 health per stamina point, but that is a lot of health. So these are very possibly worth saving up, because otherwise, in order to make that large damage stone out of these ones, I would have to make 1,000 damage stones for the price of one of these. So instead of sitting around waiting for 1,000 of those, you can just make one big one, which I think is a great upgrade. Here we have the stone carving table. You know what? While we're here, I'm going to go ahead and make one of these. Just one for now, and we'll get into that later. I've added a few tables. Those are a little broken, turning one tome into a scroll, which as they progress, it's lowest, middle, high. So doing a 1-for-1 is a little nice. So I'm farming out some extra scrolls. That will not be a feature later. There's again a scholar's desk you can turn in your scroll or your experience items for more free experience. And here we have mannequins. I have 3 because there are a total of 4 different sets. Spear, mauls and staves, 2-hand, and 1-hand. As I am currently wearing the Sogist, which is the spear set, that's what I'm keeping. Here we have the Duelist set, which is for 1-hand. This is just an extra relic. And then we have the Templar set here, and the Berserker set here. So I just have these mannequins to kind of hold the extra gear that I just don't need. I've also held on to a few extra weapons in case if I get to the point of being able to use something else. We have the Jewel Crafters table, which actually you run across for the first time at the last home zone. And this is where you can make rings and amulets. If you find them within the ruptures, you can create a ring that is specific for your weapon that you have selected. And then there's the leatherworking set as well. And then we got this big old dude over here, and he wishes for you to leave a review on Steam. And if you do, you get your pick of a mount, as long as you let one of the devs know in Discord. This right here, the Sands of Time, is a new item. If you go and you buy this tome from one of the vendors, you can reset all of your skills. Now, kind of a little late, but we'll get into skills here. They have increased some of the minimum requirements for some of the skills to make it so you can't just get all the good stuff really fast. You have to level and you have to work for it. For example, the luck tree here, you can't see the minimum requirement. This one you can because it's not learned. This one I've learned it, so you can't see the minimum requirement anymore. You need a minimum of 50 luck to be able to acquire this one. So you increase your chance of finding magical items, get more gold from looting and selling, chance to revive when taking killing blow. That has saved me a few times. Gain more experience points from everything. Again, that is a 50% boost. Chance to gain magical gems. Chance that magical gems will drop when mining any node. That is super helpful. All of these have a chance to drop. So every single standard gem has a chance to drop from a mining node if you so choose to do mining. The Fate of the Blacksmith requires, obviously requires you to learn the previous step, which I forgot. This requires 300 luck. I don't recommend putting points into luck, as you will get it from gear. As is evident here, I have 722, and I don't have a single point in any luck. This will allow you to craft the orange gear that you saw earlier, which is, so far, like this piece of orange gear has held up, and is any purple gear that I have found has not been as good as this orange piece that I made. So, it is worth getting to this to be able to do that. The sticky fingers for increased pickup range is very nice. And then we have Burning Core, which is one of the chance to proc on hit skills, which is a very nice skill and is where one of the spots that most of your damage will come from. So as I mentioned earlier, there's mauls and staves, 2 hands, spears, and 1 hand. Each tree is tailored to each weapon type. As I don't want to use mauls, 2 hands, or 1 hand this season, I have not put any points into them. Previous seasons, I've used the 1 hand, so I've focused on this. Then there's the defense tree, which will add health and armor and stamina, a health regen, a little damage absorbing shield. But this right here, Death Blade, is another chance to proc on hit skill that is very helpful. Is a little bit more defensive in case if you're close to enemies, it hits them. If they get too close, gives you a chance to kind of stun them and get away. And then we have the main combat tree, which has 4 chance to hit on skills, toxicity, rain of flames, chain lightning, and vortex. From what I have seen so far, vortex I think is actually the easiest or fastest skill to get, and is also the best for keeping yourself alive when you get to the end game ruptures. In order to get this, you require 3 points in these 2 skills, and these require 25 points in these 2, which each of these progressively requires filled up from the previous. So you'd have to put 10 here, 10 here, 1 here, 10 in both of these, 15 in both of these, 25 in both of these, 3 in here, and then you can get Vortex. This used to be, I think you needed 50 or 25 points to be able to get down to here. So they've increased this to 75. Along with this one, it was also a lower value to be able to come down here. So it is a little bit more of a grind, as they intend and want you to be able to get some of the better skills that will make life easier for you to progress through the ruptures. So, speaking of ruptures, we're going to go ahead and take a look at one of those. So, you use one of these map keystones that I have plenty of, and you select whichever world you want to go to. And each map has 3 or 4 zones as to which you could spawn into. Once you've selected it, you can then select the level you wish to go to. You have a range of, I think it's 60. So the highest that I have completed is 320. The highest I can now go to is 330. If I wish to, I can take it down about 50 levels and go to 270, which is a nice feature in case if you end up getting a little bit beyond where you can actually fight. Let's say completing 320 took me a long time. I can come back down to 270, 280, and I can farm out some levels if I wish. So let's go ahead and do one that I had already done. And we'll pop in just real quick. Okay, and we have one of the ones that personally I'm not as much of a fan of. Again, there will be free experience laying about. All of the spawn locations for the lootable items are all the same every time you enter. You come across these. Quick loot. The monsters will change every rupture. The spawn locations that they arrive at are going to be the same, but there is a combination of 4 different types that you could get in each rupture, and they have a pool of over a dozen different enemy types that they can have spawn in. So you progress through, and you'll loot things up, fight monsters, grind out, get your gear, get your experience, run around, grab the mining nodes, get the ore. Actually, let's see if I can do it real quick. Think. So on the bottom right, I got, oh, there we go. I got an agility stone. I'm also getting over 300 based off of the rupture level that I am in, determines the amount of value for the stones that I acquire. So I got a couple of different gems from that. That's very nice. Oh, we got an ambush just before the boss arena. I'm going to go ahead and leave them alone. So this here is one of the boss zones. We have an alligator. Now, as I mentioned, so we came from here, but there's 1, 2, 3 other directions that are currently blocked off. Each one of those directions is a different zone you can get for this map. And whichever zone you get, that wall disappears, and the wall for another zone comes up. So I'm going to go ahead and collect all the loot from this boss arena. Oh, looks like the boss is after me. Now, there's going to be 3 or 4 ambush spots within the area. And I got that. Okay. There we go. I'm going to intentionally pop all of the ambushes. There's another one. Ooh, I got hit. There's 3. There we go. There's 4. Okay. So now we've got all the monsters popped up and the boss is following us. This can be dangerous. But depending upon the weapon you get, you just use your skill as you go around. Keep getting hit. Skills aren't going off. There we go. There we go. Cleaning up the monsters. Things are getting easy now. Pull this back a little bit. Go after some of the weaker enemies. Oh, here's a loot bag, and I picked it up from this distance. That's awesome. So I'm hurting the boss a little bit as I'm hitting these enemies with things. So that's great. Alright, we have whittled down the enemies, and now I don't have to worry about trying to fight the boss and running around him and suddenly getting stuck by enemies. Which is why I pulled them all out on purpose. So I'm just doing kind of a hit and run tactic here. You hit the boss and you run away. You hit the boss and you run away. There are some cheeses for some bosses at this time. I'm not going to show you any of those. You have to discover it for yourself. Well, thankfully, this boss is a little bit slow. So if I happen to get a little too close, he's not going to hurt me. And there we go. We have defeated that boss, and this rupture is now technically complete. Now I can, if I wish to, go back and farm out more monsters and ores and loot from the monsters. And as I progress through, again, I don't need any of this stuff. It's not going to be helpful for me, so I'm going to disenchant it, and it's going to give me all these resources, including this stuff, which is used to make more map keys. Which, you make more map keys, you get the ability to make more keys to the ancient catacombs. As you're in here, there is no map. These ruptures do not have maps, and that's on purpose. If you're able to get over that wall, you could technically go to another zone, but it's not going to be helpful. Now, if I used my B skill, I would be able to leave this rupture, but not gain credit for it. Since I've defeated the boss, I'm going to choose to close the rupture, and we are done with that. As I come back out, I can go over and select another rupture and do it all over again. It is advised that you spend as long as you can tolerate inside of a rupture, farming the monsters, disenchanting the gear, getting yourself materials, and other things. There is actually, I'm going to do one more, because I want to show you a new monster that they have. I'm going to do, let's say level 300. I want to show you a new monster that they put in for this update, which is very helpful for new players, as it doesn't take a whole lot to deal with them. So I'm just going to run around for a minute and see if I can find one. There is no guarantee that they will be in a rupture, but one of the devs said you have a chance to get up to 100 of them, which I think the most I've seen is 4 or 5 in one rupture. Usually it's 1 to 3 is what I've seen the most of, or most commonly. They are... So, when you load the map, they spawn in. Kind of like the loot containers, they are there. They do not respawn, so what you get is what you get. I'm hoping real hard here that there is one. I'd like to show you what they look like. For the most part, thankfully, the mount is fast enough you can get away from most monsters. As you see, I'm avoiding most of these enemies. Alright, let's come check up here. Come on. But this is part of the... Oops, and I got a little too close to that one. Got smacked a couple times. Okay, I need an opening to get back on my mount. Yeah, I'm not seeing... Oh, ambush. I'm not seeing them on this side. I'm hoping there is at least one on the other side. Best way to get out of the water is to find one of those steps. Usually I will have seen one by now. There is still a chance that they will be here. Maybe not. Okay. Check over here real quick. Alright, well, unfortunately I don't think there's any in this map. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this, and when I find another one, we will be right back. Alright, and we're back. So, as you can see, right here, so I don't want it to get too close because I don't want the monsters over there to spawn. So this is one of these slimes. This one is a purple one. There's another one that is orange, unfortunately. So it took me a couple tries, but I finally found a slime. And we're gonna go poke at him. But if I get close enough, the monsters around them will spawn. So as you see, he's standing there. I'm gonna let the monsters kind of collect. So the slimes will stand at the position that the monsters kind of collect at for spawn locations. So if you wait too long, they will get surrounded. If it's not a big deal, then you can just go ahead and plow through. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go loot that guy. So keep an eye in the bottom right corner here and you'll see what we get. The color of the slime determines what we get. That one's a purple slime. I got purple gear. I'll go ahead and clean these guys up real quick. Big explosions, lots of skills going off. Good stuff. So, that is one of the new monsters that they introduced. And the other one being the orange slime will drop orange gear. The purple slimes drop 1 or 2, as far as I've seen so far. The orange ones can drop anywhere from 2 to 6 pieces of gear. So they are definitely worthwhile on running around trying to find... Oh, here we go. There's another one. This is an orange. Yep, this is an orange one. So I'm going to go ahead and deal with this. We got lucky. Defeat him. I got 5 pieces of orange gear, which is intended to be comparable to purple. So that's a good haul. So, I don't wish to finish this rupture, so I'm going to go ahead and hit the B button. We keep everything we have acquired, and we just leave. Now, that is a majority of what this game currently, at this stage, has to offer. I am, however, going to come over here to the tundra, right? Oh, Harmonia. Yes, Harmonian Mountains is where we want to be. I'm going to pull out the map, and I'm going to teleport down to here. I'm going to mount up. And as you can see, this is a new structure all the way out here. We're going to run over there. This is intentionally in this location. There is no other way to get to this besides coming to this zone and coming physically all the way over here. If you do not have this with you, I'm going to go ahead and clean up my inventory. If you don't have this with you, you can't get in. So just past here, there is a new portal. You interact with this, and you enter the ancient catacombs. It has come to my attention that you do not want to come here with 2 keys, as it will use both of them, and you only get to enter once, again, at this time. Now, normally I would show you this, but because of how cool it is and what's in there, I'm not going to show you. You have to see for yourself. It is cool. It is worth it. I'm going to do one after this is done because I want what's in there, and I've got a key. So, in the meantime, I do hope you all enjoyed this little updated beginner's guide to Dwarven Realms. Current status of version 0.6. If I can get up here. Maybe not. Okay. Let's just go ahead and head back here. The developers have a Steam page with reviews, and again, if you give them a review, they will give you a mount in game. But you do have to talk to them in Discord. They welcome players in Discord, and they hope people will join them and chat and give bug reports and game suggestions. They're open to all kinds of stuff. If you do have questions, please join. And I hope you enjoyed. Until next time, hope you all have yourselves a good afternoon, evening, morning, wherever it is, wherever you are. I'll see you next time. Bye now.